Good evening, PLO Order. I have been absent for a while. There has been disturbance in Galaxy that took my time and efforts, but now we are back. This is first part of the 3 makeup videos to give you something extra because I have been away. There's going to be a lot more extra in PLO Order as soon as I get it running back on full speed. But here we go. First one is PLO at different sites. Where to play and why? This is a very common question. People ask, where should I play? Should I play on Party Poker? Should I play on PokerStars? Whatever. What are the best sites? And back in the days when affiliate business was running hot, there was a lot of sites that said, hey, just send us a message and we will find a good site for you and we will find the best deals just for you. That was just marketing. They had the same deals for everyone. But now affiliate business is pretty much dead. So the sites have their standard deals and promotions, and that's what you get. And let's see, what shall we have here today? First thing, or the main thing, is traffic. Because that's always a problem on PLO. Because even the smallest sites and networks you find, there's always Hold'em running almost 24/7. There's always tables for Texas Hold'em. So if you play Texas Hold'em, it's not a problem to find games. But for PLO, it's always going to be a problem. Because on small networks, you don't have PLO running 24/7. And bigger sites have better traffic. Sometimes you get a good deal, like, okay, you get a nice rate back, and there's a lot of good promotions, like rate 500, and you will get free weekend on 5-star hotel and everything. But the problem is that if the games are not running, you don't get those promotions. So another thing to discuss is what are your requirements for traffic. Let's say there's a player who's a multi-table grinder and he wants to play 8 tables. Now, if the site has only 3 or 4 tables running, even on peak hours, then it's not a good site for him. So he needs to find a site that supports the requirements for his traffic. Then there's another player who plays 1 or 2 tables only. So he will find enough tables open on most sites. So it's impossible to say which is the best site, because everyone has own requirements for different things, but we're going to discuss them. So hopefully in the end you have a bit better idea of what you're looking when you're trying to figure out where to play. So for the traffic is how many tables. You know how many tables you play at the moment, so you need to find a site that supports that. Another thing is, what times are you playing? If you play on European evenings, then most sites support your requirement. If you play on early morning European time, then probably normal European heavy sites don't have traffic for you. You need to find a site where there's players on the times when you are playing. So that's another requirement. When we talk about PLO, it's often Big 4 that are the main options. And for Europe, the Big 4, or it's not just for European players, but European times and also European players, because there are big networks, but they are only open to Indian players. Or there's a network open only for Asian players. Europeans can do that. In US, there are some sites open for US players, but for now, internet poker is not available for the majority of US players. But for European players, it's big for PokerStars, GG Poker, Party Poker, and Run It Once. Those are the big four for PLO players. Now, this is not the biggest sites overall. I'm talking about PLO players, because this is PLO Order. Then sites like Unibet, iPoker, and 888, they are, I would refer them as a small tree. They have games, but there's not traffic constantly. It's not consistent. And then there are minor ones like private apps, PP Poker, smaller sites. But there's always the problem with traffic. And then on the apps like PP Poker and etc., you might find action, but then the security is an issue. And I'm going to say that if you want to play there, it's up to you. I've played there. I didn't have problems, but I heard so many stories where people have problems. Private apps are not regulated by anyone. So if someone scams you there, there's nothing you can do. So play at your own risk. Just make sure you understand the risk, and then if you take the risk, then it's up to you. There are some good games. There are some very reliable rooms. But then there's also not so fair things going on there. So it's up to you. You need to get access to those private rooms. So I can tell how much there's traffic on PLO. But we're going to talk about regulated poker sites on this video. So let's focus on the big four. PokerStars, the site. It's the biggest network, games running 24/7. So far so good, but tables are capped to 4, so you can play only 4 tables maximum. You can have 4 normal and 4 fast poker tables, but the thing is, if you want to multi-table, then table cap of 4 is going to be a problem. If you play 4 tables or less, it's not a problem for you. One problem with PokerStars is that the rateback is flat 4% estimated. They don't reveal the numbers, or less. Because the thing is, they have these chests, but the points required for chest is individual. As an example, I played there with the promotion, I'm actually playing right now, and the golden chest was 7,500 points, 7,500 points. I got the chest. The next gold chest, the same chest with same rewards, is 48,500 points. So suddenly the cost of the chest went 7 times higher with the same reward, and pretty much the average return is 4% no matter what color the chests are. The bigger chests, they have more points and they give more. But it remains on the estimated 4%, so even when you play to get the better chest, the rateback doesn't go up. So I would call it's either insanely good marketing or scamming, depends on what do you think. But rateback is pretty much flat 4% or less. Sometimes you run hard, you might get more, but it sucks. And for PLO, it's always a concern if you play PLO 50 or lower, because the rate is very high. Stars is the only site on the big four that supports HUDs. Definite plus for them. But the support is low, but the site is reliable. I would say that one of the most reliable sites. I don't think you have to worry about PokerStars doing shady stuff for you. But it used to be the best site to play, then they broke the rateback and they set the table cap, which are big things. The second biggest site for PLO is GG Poker. On GG Poker, there's a lot of Asian players, which means that PLO is running 24/7 too, and they have daily leaderboards, both in fast poker, they have in normal poker now. The rate back there is a bit shadier. There's a thread on pokerstrategy.com on the GG Poker subforum about advertised rate back versus true rate back. They advertise up to 50% with their fish buffet, which means you get points and then you get to spin the wheel and there's more variance if you don't have enough on PLO. And then you get 20, 30, 40 or even 50% rate back, which sounds great. But the problem is that they have player value index, which is a way to hurt people who win or play a lot or both. And as far as my experience is, you don't even have to be a winner to be affected by player value index. The thing is that player value index means how much you get points. Normally, if you rate $1, you get 100 points, if I remember right. Or was it 10 points? No, 40,000 is 400. Yeah, for $1 you get 100 points. But if your player value index is 0.5, then rating $1 gives you only 50 points. And normally, the lowest player value index you could have was 0.25, which I had, which means that if I rate $1, instead of 100 points, I only get 25 points. Now GG Poker changed that the worst player value index you can have is 0.1, which would mean that instead of 100 points, you would get only 10 points, which means your effective rate back or actual true rate back is only 10% of what it should be, 1/10. So if the site advertised that, okay, now on your fish buffet level you would get 40% rate back, then your actual rate back is 4%. So that's kind of sucks. And the thing with player value index is no one can tell you what your number is. No one has access to how it's calculated. It's something that they just set on you without you knowing it. You can calculate it for sure, but I think it's very shady marketing that they promise you 50% and then you actually get 5% without them being transparent and telling you how it works. So the rate back is same as with PokerStars. You don't have HUDs, but you can import the hands to Poker Tracker or Hodl Manager. They have a Discord support, which is pretty fast, so if you have any problems with the site or deposit or anything, you will get help on Discord. I would say that the site is unreliable. There's constant debate of them banning winning players or banning players and say you're bomb hunter, and then the player shows that he hasn't bomb hunt, he's giving action to anyone. And the thing is that the site has banned a lot of winning players without giving evidence. They don't give any evidence like, this is where you bomb hunted, this is where you did wrong. They say that you've done wrong, get out, don't come back. And the CEO of GG Poker has actually said openly in a statement that if you are trying to make a living out of poker, you're not welcome to GG Poker. You are allowed to play, but we will make everything we can to make it hard for you, which is super weird. But yeah, there's pros and cons, like PokerStars. There's good things, and then there's bad things. It's up to you to decide where you play. Then we have Party Poker. Party Poker has best traffic at evenings, so if you're looking for afternoon session, the traffic is a bit low. They also have daily leaderboards, which means that if you grind a lot, you will get more rate back, in a way. Their rate back is 20% and upwards. More you play, more you get. It's very transparent. There's no hidden player value indexes. You will see the points on your client. HUDs are not allowed, but you can import the hands to tracker just like on GG Poker. A good thing about Party Poker is that they have this emphasis on serving the players. Rob Young is doing constant work there, listening to players, having dialogue with players. So Party Poker is moving forward, and you could say that Party Poker takes care of its customers, unlike Stars and GG Poker, on my perspective, on my experiences. And then the last one of the big four is Run It Once, the newcomer. It's growing. It's still in beta, which means that it's not fully launched. People forget that one. And they're going to launch sit and goes soon, which means that the traffic will go up. Because then sit and go players come there, some of them try, hold them, and so on. And the thing is, PLO is there running in the evenings. On afternoons you might see that there's 0 players on any stage. But on evenings sometimes you will get 10 to 15 tables open on any given stage. So sometimes the games are running hot, sometimes they are not. It really depends on a lot of things. They have a table cap of 6 tables, but very often not sure if you can find more on any stage. The railback is 40% and upwards, and it's very transparent. Just like on Party Poker, you can see the points required. Of course, one thing that confuses people is that 20% of the railback, actually 30% of the railback, is given from splash the pots, which means that there's added money onto the pot. We have a video on PLO Order how to play splash pots, so if you want to play and Run It Once, I recommend that you check out the video. So 30% is coming from there, but if you play solid PLO, then you will get that 30% from the splash pots, because most likely you play better than your average opponent overall, which means you get more than average player on the splash pots anyway. There's no HUDs, and as with other sites, hands can be imported trackers. They have this Hero IQ, which shows you the VPIP and preflop raise on the table, but not even more than that. They have also huge emphasis on serving the players. They have a great Discord support. It's fast, and I would say that it's the best customer support you can have in poker. Any problem you have, they will sort it out, and they will sort it out in very fair manner. So it's very transparent, very fair. Definitely something to check out. It's a newcomer, and PLO is running more than Hold'em there. So it's definitely for PLO players. If you haven't tried it, I recommend to try. You will get a nice deposit bonus. You don't pretty much lose anything to try there. But it's going to grow, and I hope it will challenge the other big 4 members on PLO. Then one question is fast poker or slow poker? Pretty much normal or fast poker. There's fast forward on Party Poker, rush and cash on GG Poker, a zoom on PokerStars. So all of those offer you fast poker. The thing about fast poker is it's more rec field, because regulars play more tables than normal players, and then you will face more, because the hand number per hour goes up. You will play much more with reps, and there's a lot of reps who are very needy, very low VPIP. Because in fast poker you can just fold and move on to the next hand. On a normal table they might get bored and start to play a bit too much. So if you look at the lobby, you will see the average VPIP and just compare fast forward normal tables, and you will often see that on fast poker the average VPIP is lower, which means that your average opponent is tighter. And when your average opponent is tighter, it often means that your edge goes down a little. But then the volume goes up a little, so It's up to you. The thing is that the higher the stakes are, the smaller the difference is. And the reason is that when you get up in stakes, your average opponent becomes better. And what it means that his VPIP goes down because he's more solid. Average opponent. Of course, on any stakes you have these VPIP 100 maniacs and good customers. But there's more regulars compared to bad players. And when you go up the ratio, it just gets worse for you. So if you go to PLO 500, then Zoom is as same as normal tables. If you go to PLO 5, then Zoom is much worse than normal tables. Average VPIP on Zoom is 25%. Average VPIP on normal tables is 50 to 60%. So once again, it depends on the stage, it depends on the size. Can't say which one is better. Pros and cons. One thing to note is that at party poker, their fast poker, which is fast forward, is often 4 or 5 handed. Even when there's a big player pool, it divides players in the table of 4 or 5. So you just have to adjust a little. Like 4-player PLO is not the same as 6-player PLO. More or less. We have a video about how to play 3-max. So you can actually check the video. It also shows you how to adjust to 4 or 5 max PLO. Then all of this information should be put in the triangle of decision. It sounds nice, but it's just a simple graphical concept of saying when we decide where to play, we have 3 main things that we need to address. First one is traffic. What are our requirements? What are we looking for? What sites give us that? Then there's the rate. What is the rate? What is the rate back? And the thing we should be focusing is the net rate. How much we pay rate after all the promotions, rate backs and everything. And then we can compare, because sites have different initial rates, they have different promotions, rate backs and so on. So in the end, the question is how much you pay rate after everything is calculated. And one thing to note is, along with traffic, some sites have a flat rate back, like PokerStars have a flat rate back. It's 4% no matter what you do, on average. But Party Poker running ones, more you play, the more you get. On Chichi Poker, pretty much the same depending on your player value index, but the more you play, the more you get. But on Party Poker running ones, the difference is huge. If you play with small volume, you might get 20%. If you play a bit more, you might get 50%. And on small stakes PLO, the difference is going to be huge. And then the last thing to consider is the level of opponent. You will often hear that people say that, oh, come to play the Party Poker, it's the softest PLO ever. Often the statement is made out of one session where they run hard. But yeah, I would say that if you play PLO 2, then no matter where you play, the level of opponent is pretty low. If you play PLO 50, there's going to be a huge difference on running one's PLO 50 compared to PokerStars or Chichi Poker's PLO 50. So it depends on the stakes you play, it depends on the time of the day you play. The level of competition might be harder on afternoons than on evenings. And no one can tell you, like, if I say that, okay, on Chichi Poker, PLO 50 is soft, that's soft for me. But it might not be soft for you. Or I say that run it once, PLO 50, the level of competition is quite high. Then another player who's much better than me say that, oh no, PLO 50 there is the softest ever. So it depends on the player, it depends on the time of the day you play and so on. But it's definitely something to consider, like you have 2 sides, not sure where should I play. Check out the stakes you're playing, try and see how much you have good customers, how much you have bad customers. And then all of these three needs to be combined to figure out where to play. And on PokerStars and GT Poker, I would say that it doesn't really matter how much you play because you don't get rails back. You don't benefit from putting up the high volume. On Party Poker running ones, you benefit because there's rails back. Of course, on GT Poker, you have daily leaderboards, which means that you should play on that side only. The thing is that it's impossible to say where you should play or where anyone should play now. Things change. A new promotion, you should have accounts to all those sites because sometimes you get this promotion. Like on PokerStars, every now and then I get the reward of promotion like rail 500 and get 200 back, which means 40% rail back. Now, if I get 40% rail back on PokerStars, I'm definitely playing there. Because the biggest problem there is the lack of rail back. So that promotions nullifies that problem. Then there might be huge promotion on running ones. Or I might get deposit bonus on Party Poker. Get 20% more rail back. So suddenly I can go for 60%. And so on and so on. So you should have accounts on all sides. And then just change. If there's a promotion that suddenly makes one side better than the others, of course you should play there. Because if the idea is to make money, you can always then withdraw the money and go to the other side if they have a better promotion and so on. So you don't have to stick to one side only and play there until you die. No. Try different things. Because in modern world, transferring money is so easy. Of course, deposit is instant. Then for the cash out, you have to wait for a few days often. But it's still pretty fast, so you can try different sites. Play there where you think the value is best for you. Or if you're focusing on becoming a better player, you're focusing on studying, practicing, then find a site that supports that. Then could be PokerStars, you have the HUD, you can mark hands instantly. On the sides you can get them to Poker Tracker, but PokerStars give you hands instantly to Poker Tracker. You can check them right after session, so might be that the way you're studying and practicing and becoming a better player, then PokerStars might be the best option for you for that. Another player might be heavy grinder, just trying to make 5 BP per 100 to pay the bills. Then PokerStars might not be the best place, and so on. But I hope the video gave you some ideas what to think about when figuring out where should you put your money, where should you play. And I'm off to the Death Star and start to produce the next one. So stay tuned, there will be a new video coming up shortly. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.